You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
It seems like only yesterday that we were seeing Spock get married, and then not married, and then dance, and then mind meld with Batel's Gorn parasite, and then dance again. And what do you say we wrap it all up with a neat little bow? It's 7 Pacific, it's Monday night, we're here, and you're right there with us. It's Mission Log Live. I'm John Champion.
And I'm Heather Ray Barker. I'm so happy to be back. I missed you guys so much. Tonight, it's our very own space adventure hour as we get a little timey-wimey and time travel back through season 3 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Call us. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about this season. I know it's been wacky. I know it's been wild, but I want to know what your highlights were. And yes, we want to know what the lowlights were, but mostly the highlights.
Yeah, I want to know all of the above. And I'm always curious. I always want to hear what people are expecting, what they want out of the next season. So we made it through this one, and yeah, there were ups and downs. So, but I always want to hear what people want next. And is the show losing them, or do they think they're going to get back on track? How do they feel? And I'm glad that you're feeling much better and are able to join us this week. Yeah.
Yes.
So, folks, you know the drill by now. All opinions are welcome here, and we cannot wait to put it all in perspective. We're saying goodbye to season 3, but maybe we've got some ideas about what went out of season 4. Click on the Zoom link. Earl is there in the Earl Green Room waiting for you, and then you will be live with us to chat about Strange New Worlds.
We were checking out all the people in the chat because we were chatting and you guys were already there chatting, and everybody's there. I was trying to look for the Paul Fecta, and I'm not sure if we found it.
I see one.
Help me out.
Let's see.
Nope, I still just see one. I see myself, which yay, I'm here again. My dear friend Cheyenne, so happy to see Cheyenne.
Yay.
Cheyenne joins us for our chat on Tuesdays. Jim, John Arminio, Ashley, thank you, Ashley, for filling in for me when you did, and thank you, Shar, for filling in for me when you did. I appreciate you guys so much. Dr. Nani, Dave Taylor, hi Dave, David Takechi, another Dave. Oh, we got the Dave
2 Daves.
duo.
The Daves and the Pauls
duo.
are going to fight it out later.
Yeah. Let's see. Alan, Captain Mike, BC
Nice.
doing the Alan Moran.
Oh, God, you did it. You did it. You did it. Okay. All right, fine. I guess he can still stay.
Okay. And Brandon, hi. Oh, 2 Pauls. Paul T is
Hey,
here.
all right, right
Ooh,
on.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to hang with Paul T last week at the Hollywood Bowl. It was great.
You did. I saw
I
the
did.
picture.
Yes. Excellent. Well, glad to see you all, everybody. Thank you for joining us as you do. By the way, while you're in there, don't forget, click subscribe, like, share the video, all that good stuff. The more you chat with us, and of course, welcome anybody who is new, make them feel welcome just as we do with you. And share the video. Make sure that people are here joining us live on Monday nights, because we love to talk to you, and we hope that you enjoy talking to us. Now, there's a lot happening in the world of Roddenberry podcasts this week, so let me remind you. First of all, Mission Log, The Void is out now, and then this Thursday we drop Workforce, and we're doing both parts. That's Workforce and Workforce Part 2 in one big podcast, because whenever we arrive at a 2-parter, we have to ask ourselves, are we telling 2 different stories? Do we have 2 distinct and different sets of morals, meanings, messages? Might look at a show like Year of Hell or something like that and go, oh yeah, well maybe we are talking about 2 different things. You get to Workforce and maybe we're not. So check it out. It's still a fun conversation, so check it out. Workforce drops on Thursday.
Oh, goodness.
What else is happening, Heather?
Our dear genealogy. I always say it wrong. Genealogy. There we go.
Yeah.
Still on hiatus, but like we say, go back. Go back from the beginning and like get into it, because there's a lot of crazy stuff there, like polar bears. And again, you never thought there would be polar bears in Gene's mind, but there were. So go listen and find where the polar bears are. Trek Files is back, which is like so exciting. Last week, we introduced you to Glenn Swanson, former NASA archivist and author of Inspiring Enterprise. Last week, Lynn and Larry talked about the first connection in the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum made with Gene Roddenberry. This week, we follow up with the journey Trek took to Washington in the 70s and an inspiring centerpiece in the new museum. Everybody knows those pictures. You have seen those
Oh,
pictures
yeah.
online, so you
Hmm.
know about this story, you know the moment. So this is it. You really want to tune in for this one. So all that, all the good stuff, you know where to find it. Podcasts with an s.roddenberry.com.
Right, exactly. And by the way, BC is correct. Genealogy is not on hiatus the way that Manimal is on hiatus. No, this is a hiatus where you take a break and then you kind of reconfigure and plan and then you do a set. I want people to think of genealogy the way they think of like a DVD box set, if I may use another out of date reference. But so you take a group of shows and here, okay, Gene wrote for Mr. District Attorney. So here you have a set of those shows. And then just most recently, Jefferson Drum, he wrote 4 episodes for that series. Cool. So you go check out those 4 episodes and you get a sense of the series and Gene's contribution to it. So that's how I like to think of it. So you take a little break, get to catch your breath, get to listen to those shows, maybe go find those on YouTube or elsewhere. We try to share that information where we can. And then you come back and download a little new genealogy into your mind. Now, one last bit of business before we talk about Strange New World Season 3. This weekend, for all of you who are in LA, around LA, maybe just dropping into LA for the weekend, come find us at LA Comic-Con. So this is kind of a new thing here for Roddenberry, dipping our toes into collaborating with LA Comic-Con. We've got 2 panels set up. You can get the information right now if you're here Saturday. If you type into the YouTube chat, !Saturday, you get the panel information there. If you type in !Sunday, you get the panel information there as well. It's at the LA Convention Center, September 26th through 28th. We will be there the 27th and 28th only. And then, very exciting, there is a hangout, a meetup Saturday evening after the Mission Log Live panel. So I really look forward to that part, maybe more than the panel itself, because we're going to go down to the lobby bar at the Hotel Figueroa. Me, Holly, Shar, somebody with the last name Roddenberry, and we're just going to hang out and talk Trek and have a few drinks.
Are
Wish
you
you could
allowed
be
to tell
here.
us the what the panel's about?
I'm allowed to tell you that. So Mission Log Live is kind of like this. So we're taking whatever is current in Trek. Strange New World Season 3 just ended. Star Trek Scouts just started. No, that's not for us, but interesting idea that they're playing with there. Star Trek Con just started. We're anticipating Academy. We had the trailer drop at Comic-Con for that. So everything that is current Trek, that is all on the table for our live discussion. So Holly and Shar and I, we will have questions for each other, but more importantly, we will have questions for you, the audience. So if you have ideas, concerns, hot takes, questions, bring them. Let's hash it out. They gave us an hour and 20 minutes. I don't know
Whoa.
why.
Whoa.
Let's see. I will get tired of me before that is over. But come help me out so I don't have to talk for an hour and 20 minutes. You come and pick up a mic and tell us what's on your mind. That's what that panel is all about. And then Sunday morning at 11 o'clock, that'll be Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek, and we will be doing 59 years of Star Trek fandom. And we have some of the best, worst, and weirdest fan feedback going back to TOS up through now. Because I always love to make the point that extreme opinions in fandom, they are nothing new. We got through it then, we'll get through it now. So come join us Sunday morning for that. And yes, we'll be sharing some very interesting fan feedback from over the decades. And remember, if you want to get that information right now in the YouTube chat, !Saturday, !Sunday. And I hope we see you there. Yeah, come join us. Let's see here.
I wish I could be there. I want to come and go to that because those panels sound really fun, especially the one with the wild feedback because I want to know what that is.
What am I? And I hope that we can find it again. There is a letter somewhere behind that wall in the archive that is from like 1967. Somebody writing into the Star Trek production office saying you need to hire people who know how to write Star Trek. So
Ah,
again,
evergreen,
a familiar
evergreen.
refrain, right?
Oh
Okay.
my goodness. So
Yeah.
here, speaking of Star Trek, now is where you recap all of season three, correct?
Yeah, you ready? Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to do it right now. Okay. Hegemony 2, Wedding Bell Blues, Shuttle to Confore, Space Adventure Hour, Through the Lens of Time, Sail Out to Wait Its Tail, What is Starfleet 4.5 Vulcans, Terrarium, New Life and New Civilizations. Done.
Bravo. Best recap all season.
So we do have a lot of people waiting in the chat, and we can't wait to have our first caller join us. But Heather, I just want to talk for a second between the two of us. I feel like this season, more so than season one, more so than season two, uh, kind of a mixed bag, maybe the most extreme of fan reactions that we have heard so far about that mixed bag. Tonally, just jumping all over the place. We heard that same comment later in season two, but I think even more so now. And I don't know if it's by design or not, but the production just absolutely dug into this idea of heavy, light comedy, heavy, light comedy with some commentary in there. And then kind of an oddball episode that felt very incomplete. And then, yes, it did have a follow up when we got to the end, but then I sort of asked myself, did we really need that? you know? But definitely some standout moments, some moments that I absolutely love. And I know that there is a lot of very legitimate criticism and commentary, especially about the finale. And I said it last week and I'll say it again here. I fully understand that commentary and criticism and why things didn't land with some of our listeners and some of the wider Star Trek viewership. That 11 or 12 minutes in the, I'll just call it Strange New Worlds Nexus, it absolutely got me every time. And if I
Mm.
could get more of that, if I could get more of Pike's inner emotional life that informs him as the captain that we follow week to week, I'm here for it. And I can forgive some of the other sins of the episode, or at least forget for a little while. you know. What about you? What stands out for you?
So I listened to the shows that I missed, and I was really touched that you were touched by that part of whatever what was it again? Strange
New life, and
New
new
Life and
civilizations. Yeah.
sorry, all it's all a jumble because they're all the intro
Right.
words.
right.
Ah, but yeah, because I also really enjoyed that. I think it's interesting that you focused on Pike there and the storytelling of Pike because for me it was really Patel that stood out.
Oh yeah,
And I spent a lot of
100%. Yeah.
time, there's criticism over whether or not Battelle was fridged, and we talked about this in our
Mm,
Strange New World Discord chat.
hmm
And I am now at the conclusion that I don't believe she was. And I'm not going to go into the long story of it because we'll be here forever, and that's not why we're here. But I appreciated that they closed her story in a way that did empower her and that did not take away her agency. I get that it was the way the story was written. You can definitely see. I I don't want to completely dismiss anyone's opinion who thinks that she was fridged. I get it. I get where
hmm
you can come to that
Sure.
conclusion, but
Sure.
there's enough evidence there for me that I don't agree, and I was happy with that ending for her and that ending for them as well.
That's an important criticism to have. I think anytime you have a situation like that, I think you have to have that conversation. I think what saves it for me is that we met Battelle at the very beginning,
Hmm.
and
First
we've
episode.
yeah, and she has come back and forth in and out of the series in significant ways, which is great. And I'm always asking for Star Trek to have give death meaning. Don't
Mhm.
let it just be a plot thing we have to figure out for the next week. You know, I
Yeah.
want it. So if you're going to kill off a character, let that have meaning. And we got meaning out of it in the sense that she gave both herself and Pike this gift of that shared experience. So they now both get to go to their next steps of their lives. Her as the guardian statue, I forget what we call it, but yes, the
Yeah.
statue. He going on
Beholder.
to his other fate as the heroic captain who will sacrifice a part of himself for his crew. But they get to go to those lives having lived this other experience that still has meaning, still has impact. So I thought it was beautiful, and it just yeah, love and loss are such powerful themes in storytelling anyway. And when science fiction can do that, it can nail the high minded, high concept science fiction construct along with real world emotional impact. Then I think you've got a winner of a story,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
that was the winner. Whereas there were other moments in the season that were not winners for me, like some of the stuff between Beto and Ahura, between like the two different
Uh,
episodes, What is Starfleet, and then
yeah,
the Four and a Half
four and a
Vulcans,
half. Yeah.
where they both like treated each other really poorly. And I'm like, where is the thoughtfulness there with the writing and the treatment of those characters? But overall, I really loved all the guest appearances. I loved Reese Darby. I loved Patton Oswalt's appearances. They
Oh,
were both great. They
amazing. Yeah.
and I will tell you, I put this in my notes. Despite the criticism about the those episodes, Wedding Bell Blues, Space
Hmm.
Adventure Hour, and Four and a Half Vulcans, I really appreciated the playfulness of the season. And if this season would have been something like Andor or just something very serious with
Hmm.
no levity, I wouldn't have watched it. Like I would
Yeah.
have had to because I'm doing mission log. But if I was on my own,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have watched it because I just can't right now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need something else. I would rather have watched Star Trek Scouts. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, overall, I'm again, I'm there's good and bad with the season. I want
Yeah.
the wardrobe. That would be great. Send
Oh,
me all those items because I loved
absolutely.
everything that everyone was put in.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the best part of this season was getting to talk about it with all of you here on Mission Log and everyone in our Discord. So much love because of all that. And I'm excited to hear from our callers.
Yes. Well, we got one right here. Mark. Mark, welcome. How's it going tonight?
Good, good, John and Heather. It's good to see both of you today.
Yeah,
You were talking
likewise.
about Fringe, so I can't help but think of the Fringe TV series
Nice.
Yay!
and
Nice.
how
Awesome.
eventually I plan to cover it on a mission on my Monday night show
The
after
Discord.
Godzilla on the
Ooh.
Discord
Excellent.
after Godzilla's done. But that's a while away yet because I still have
Very
to get
cool.
through three more seasons of BSG and a couple of other things. But I wanted to come in and talk about. Um, a few of the episodes that really bothered me, and then ones that I really enjoyed. So there's quite a few people, so I'll try and be somewhat quick on this. So I'll say that I didn't like the episode with the zombies in it because I think that's a
Hmm.
tired cliche,
Hmm.
and a tired cliche. And then I also didn't like Four and a Half Vulcans. And reflecting on that, I think for me for Four and a Half Vulcans, it has a lot to do with how there, to me anyways, how there's some coding around how their Vulcan behavior very much reminded me of how some people talk about those people and some people with autism and how they do things, and not everyone will see that, but that's how I saw it with how uh, invested I have been in doing research and other things over the years with that. So I saw that a lot for that, and then too flip over to the good ones. I really liked the one with where we get to see Kirk in his first time in the chair, because one of the things that we haven't really brought up so far, and that's the the sea lad who chased his tail. In that in that one, we haven't really established, but we know from the greater lore that Kirk is a bit of a rising hotshot star. He made XO in record time, and in a few years' time becomes the youngest captain in Starfleet history. And so what we're seeing is he's been going up the ranks very quickly with little obstacles. And so he may not have learned everything he may have learned some things very fast and other things not very fast. And I think that's captured really well in that episode, and why I really liked it, as it builds not only a bit of a foundation stone for how we see him become the captain, of where he asks the questions of Spock and the crew, but also how all of those people on that one are eventually his bridge officers, and that he builds around, that make him one of the best Starfleet captains that you see in the history of the franchise and Starfleet. And I think I really like that. And yeah.
So I have to say that I'm still of two minds about Kirk being here. And my first thought is that this season went a long way into me being less annoyed with Kirk being there, because an episode like The Sailot Who Ate Its Tail, they actually gave him some fallibility. There was actually some hesitation, some missteps on his part, which I thought were great. And I'm so glad to finally see that entered into our story about James Kirk, because everything else is just like, well, he's going to be in the chair because his name is Kirk and that's where he belongs. And I'm really tired of that kind of story. And then in New Life and New Civilizations, I didn't need there to be a Spock Kirk mind meld for them to be friends. I think they can just be friends because they're both smart and they get each other, and that's cool. But I liked the moments that they had together. So I liked him being there more so now. The other part of me says, I don't need everything about Kirk explained to me. And I definitely don't need everything about Kirk and his crew explained to me, because I've already got 59 years back of stories about Kirk and his crew. And they get along just fine, and they solve problems together just fine. So giving everybody a meet cute moment, giving everybody this backstory, it doesn't help me. It doesn't make me like them any better. And in fact, if you spend too much time on it, I'm probably just going to get kind of fed up with it. But this season went quite a bit of the way to get me to accept this new Kirk. I was already on board with new Spock, definitely on board with new Uhura. I still want the show to spend more time with characters who we don't have a ton of time with in TOS. So yeah. Pike, Una, now Ortegas, Mbenga. Somebody here in the office said, yeah, Mbenga is in TOS, but only on Wednesdays. So, so I love that. But yeah, you know, so yeah, I'm on board with you there. Absolutely. What else? We got a handful of callers standing by tonight, so we can jump over. But if you've got a final thought, you can share that.
Well, there is just one thing I want to do. I think I know what happened to the eyes of the character. They went on to your computer screens, because we can see your occasionally the monitors in your glasses.
Oh, good.
It's awesome.
Yeah. That's by design. Yeah.
And it's just awesome to see that. I love little things where you see that. So I had to bring that up, and then I will tell you that. And then I'll also tell you that I think it's fitting that we actually went to Strange New Worlds this year. In this season, compared to last season, of where it was very self-contained on the Enterprise, we actually went to a couple of planets they have never gone before, and so I think that was kind of refreshing, where it actually lived. The season lived up to the name of Strange New Worlds, even if it had its ups and downs. And then lastly, I just wanted to say, our next caller, I have my 15 cents ready since the doctor is in, and that's how I'll end it.
All right. Well,
I
take
have to
care.
interrupt
Yeah.
really quick
Yeah.
too, that we from this conversation we have a new hashtag. It is more benga.
Yeah, there we go. Hashtag more benga. Thank you, Ashley, for that. Oh, I love it. I love it. By the way, some great comments in the chat tonight, and I want to thank everybody who's there. Ashley and Brandon were having an interesting conversation about the quote unquote realness of the Pike and Battelle experience of that alternate life. And I love the idea of, okay, it was either an actual thing that happened that they lived out, because time and space don't have the same meaning in that space, or it was kind of, an emotional construct, a facsimile, whatever. But it always, for me, comes down to the same question we ask on Mission Log over and over about the holodeck. If you experience it, it is still real. The experience is real, whether or not the construct that got you there was artificial or the quote unquote real thing. So keeping that vague, I kind of to me, that's part of the magic of that episode. I think it's great. Heather, to your point, there are a lot of people here who are appreciating the civilian clothes in this season. Hard agree. Absolutely. We have some great, finally, Star Trek has done civilian clothes very well. It only took 59 years to get there.
Oh, goodness.
And there was something else. We were talking about the relationship between Doug and Una.
Oh, so
I
good.
love it. I'm here for it.
Love it.
I think
Love
it's great.
it.
I love a good mismatched couple, and I love, love, love the way Rebecca Romaine played that, because she is so tough in everything else. But you know what? There's somebody out there that cracks through that.
I love it.
It's so great. It's so
I love it.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good conversation about that in our Strange New Worlds chat. So, but y'all missed out because
Yeah.
you weren't there. So you gotta join.
Gotta join Discord. That's all you have to do. Patreon.com/mission log. All right. Let's go. Speaking to somebody who is on our Discord, let's go to Dr. Nani. How's it going tonight?
Hi, I'm
Hi.
apparently flashing green, and I don't quite know why.
You're
but
Aaron
it's-
and
For a
Ryan.
second. Yeah.
Maybe
right.
I am. Yes. I'm like, it just started right when I came out of the green room. I was like, no.
Oh, no.
Like, but
Oh,
that was the green
it
room. I
stopped.
should be green in there.
it rubbed off.
It, oh, no, it keeps coming back. I don't
it's
know
okay.
what's going on. Okay.
So what's on your mind?
Well,
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out why this season has been so divisive for the fans. And so I was trying to look at a few different things and comparing it to the first two seasons. And the first thing I noticed is that this season was a lot less episodic. I mean, technically, there still were, there were the three silly ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were three that were episodic that seemed to be the ones everybody likes, which was, well, two of the three, Terrarium and
Uh-huh.
and Salat one.
Uh-huh.
And then the other four all kind of had to do with the whole Battelle thing. Like Battelle turning into what she is. And I'm wondering, I know that when Strange New Worlds came out, at the same time as Discovery and Picard, that people liked the return to episodic.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering whether that's part of it. If you look at like the ratings of the different episodes, the non-traditional ones, all the funny ones, with the exception of those little scientists, the humor ones seem to all have, or I should say that the less sci-fi ones all have lower scores. And so that could be something too, where the genre is bugging people some. And then the last one has absolutely nothing to do with Star Trek, and it's just our current political climate is really, really tense. And so if people are coming to Star Trek to escape that, and they're expecting something very specific, so if you're looking only for the sci-fi stuff and you're getting fantasy and you're like, what's this? Why is, or humor? Why is this here?
Hmm.
Or, you know, but then there's a lot of us who just Trek was a break from the real world. So even if it wasn't my absolute favorite, it was still better than Out There. So
Yeah.
I was good with that. Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at the episode list here, and to me, the sweet spot for Strange New Worlds was to correct what Voyager didn't always get right and what Discovery did too much of, which is, okay, tell episodic stories, but let the character arcs propel you from episode to episode or season to season or whatever. So, you know, ultimately you have this Pike character arc where he is a man who knows his fate, but every single day shows up at work to be the best leader that he can for his crew. And then you've got Spock with another great character arc. He's fresh, he's young, he's definitely battling with that emotional half here. He is a long way from being either the guy in the cage who just kind of smiles at the singing plants, or he is also a long way from the guy who kind of tries to tamp it all down with Kolinar and finally reconciles when we get to motion picture and, you know, all of that era. So you can tell these stories that lay the groundwork there, and even just having a hint of a romance between him and Chapel, like I think exploring that a bit, maybe we did that a bit too much here, but exploring that a bit so that lays the groundwork for what we get in TOS, I think that's fine too. And I even think that telling comedic stories, that's, yeah, Star Trek certainly has done that to great effect over the years. Doesn't always get it right, but there are some very memorable, very funny stories. We have so few episodes with just these 10. And when you have 3 comedic shows stand out, then it's like, okay, well, we've burned up now a third of the season. And I look at this and I think, okay, yes, I want Star Trek to be escapist. I want to be, you know, the warm blanket with the friends that I know in an aspirational future that I want to be a part of. But I also want it to be a little bit of a guidepost, something that acknowledges where we are now, and a bit of a guidepost to say, but you can do better. And here's how we can do that. We have one episode where we got the speech, but the speech was in a holodeck, and it was talking about the thing rather than doing the thing. And that's where, like, I get it. It was fun. A lot of people enjoyed it. A lot of people really resonated with that speech. I would have preferred an episode where we actually played that out, you know? And so if we're going to do a political statement, if we're going to do something that is about how we tell stories that are important, let's just do that, you know? But why am I on the soapbox? Not my show.
Oh, actually, it is your show. At least this one is.
Well, I had it back over to you. This show is all about you and our callers. So yeah. Well, what else? What else? We'll jump over to Chris here in just a second.
Well, the only other thing is I'm kind of sad that we're not going to keep having mission log lives on Monday night. And
well, hey, you're going to have us at least twice more. We'll come back next week with a guest, maybe 2. And then the week after, we're going to switch gears and talk about Khan just a little bit, also with a guest, I believe, touch wood. And yeah, and then we'll take a hiatus. So we'll be around.
Okay, well, that's good. And plus, you know, there's always all of you in the Discord, so that helps.
Discord. All right. Well, take care, Nani. We'll see you around.
Too.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye. Hey, let's jump over to Chris before we do a little mid-show business, shall we?
Yeah.
Chris, how's it going?
Hey guys.
Hey.
Doing good. Yeah.
Good.
So I think general consensus is it's been kind of rocky. But I wanted to come in and I wanted to I was trying to think about, like, why is that? Like, where did they go wrong? And what I've sort of settled on is that I think in season 1 and 2, they were very good about, especially when they were doing kind of the goofy gimmick episodes, they were doing it, and I think you said this, John, maybe a couple weeks ago, like in service of something, right? Like, you look at something like the musical episode that is in service of mostly Spock and Chapel, but also a little bit of Uhura,
Sure.
or the Lower Decks one that is also Spock and Chapel, but it's Spock and Chapel a lot of the time. But
Right.
I feel like this time they took like they misinterpreted the lesson of the Lower Decks crossover, which was just like they went all the way out, like doing gimmicks without really having a reason to. Like you look at something like Wedding Bell Blues, and Wedding Bell Blues is fun, but does it get me anything? Not really, with the exception of Spock's monologue at the end.
Yep.
Like it's not a bad episode, but if they do stuff, I want them to sort of build to something, and I feel that's where they kind of stumbled this year.
That is a great point. Yeah. Yeah. They told the funny stories, but they were just kind of there because it's the show acknowledging to itself that it's going to break the tension. It's a little too self-aware, instead of just letting you feel the reality of the story and the reality of the characters. Yeah, I get that. Anything else before we jump to our break here?
I will just say, going back to the costumes, I want Chapel's Mod Squad dress from the finale.
Oh my
It
God.
is so
It's
good with the stripes
so
and the little
cool.
gold and the
Look, I mean,
God.
any mod I love that there is definitely a nod to the 60s here because of course that's TOS period, but yeah, absolutely, let's revive all of that. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And
these costumes will only cost you like $600, $700, $800 a piece, by the way.
Easily remember that orange casual outfit that Uhura had in Sailot or through, I can't remember which one, but yeah,
Somewhere.
Magnificent.
Yes.
Incredible. Great costume design. Yeah. Excellent, Chris. All right. We'll see you soon, I hope. Take care.
Yeah, I'll see you Saturday. I'll be there. I'll pitch relief for you.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, man. I look forward to the conversation then. Be good.
Yeah.
All right. Heather, you mentioned it a moment ago, and Nani mentioned it. Others have mentioned it. The live show might go away for a minute, but it's always hopping on Discord. So, and it's not just Discord that we need to remind people of this week. It is also the survey, the listener survey. So yes, right now, two ways you can get involved with and support Mission Log.
Okay, I've got to read the notes about I took the survey. I had to find out what the survey was all about because people were asking me about the survey, and
Some
I
good
need
questions,
to have the
right?
knowledge.
Yeah.
There's a lot. So if you've got feedback to give, I highly recommend. I mean, we want your feedback. We want to hear from you. It's very important that we find out what's in your brain about us, how we're doing, what you would like us to improve, all that good stuff. But see, okay, I'm trying to find the quick and easy stuff.
It's in there somewhere. But
links to both Discord via Patreon and the survey are in the chat. Oh, they're in the chat?
Yes, they are. So people can do that in the chat. I believe you can just hit !survey, and of course you can hit !Patreon, and that will give you all the details that you need. The survey is very thorough. Hopefully it's also a bit of fun because you can share your opinions and you can kind of help steer us a bit because we're always evolving. We're always changing a little bit here to make sure we give you programs that you like. And like we always say here, opinions are welcome, whether you share them with us on air live or you share them with us in Discord, or if it's about the show itself in that survey. And when you take the survey, when you finish it, you get a giveaway code. And then when you use that code, you may just win a piece of Trek history. Yes, you've got some right there, right? You were pointing exactly to it. You have the blue one, right? Do you have the blue one, or is that just the lighting changing it? Okay.
No, it's the blue one, and there's the 3 cells in there.
Yeah. So you get not 1, not 2, you get 3 original TOS film cells embedded in that acrylic. And once they're gone, they're gone. That's it.
Yeah.
These were cut off the cutting room floor, literally off the cutting room floor in the 60s. And now you can potentially win some. So yeah, do it.
Yeah.
!Patreon, !Survey. And thank you for your participation. All right. Oh,
Then
yeah.
go join the Discord. The end.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
just,
Go join Discord. Yeah.
join us there.
All right. Peter, welcome to the show. Peter, who is bravely next to Gorn. Welcome. How's it going?
Going all right, John. Good to see you. And Heather, good to see
likewise.
you.
Hi.
Always appreciate the opportunity to be on. Yeah, this is a selfie I took of myself back when the Star Trek tour in Ticonderoga had that Gorn statue.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. That's
And a
so
nice
cool.
hat.
I wonder, did
Thanks.
they, yeah, so Roddenberry had, right. I wonder if they got that Gorn from the experience when it closed. Or maybe there are just multiple of them out there, but I definitely remember one of those from Star Trek The Experience in Vegas. Wish we could have brought him back here, but no.
Yeah, sadly they had to give it back to whomever had it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so it's not there anymore, but
Yeah.
I still have the
Oh.
picture, so that's cool.
No.
But I like this season as a whole. We got a lot of good stuff going in here. They sent it into the cornfield.
I know, Earl. Yeah. Can't turn him off. That's,
Caesar was great, though. How they just kept the action going as we started into it. I thought it was a better continuation than Best of Both Worlds Part 2. Because you guys just got that fire and then nothing.
Yeah.
Here, it just keeps going. I was like, that's a great way. If you're going to hold us in suspense for 2 years, that's the way to do it.
Very true. Yeah. I mean, I do like that there is a lot. I mean, look, Star Trek at this point, as it has been for a long time, production value is right up there, high action. All the performers are great. I just kind of asked myself at the end of the day, well, what is the story that we're telling here? We have all these resources of we can bring in the best writers, we can bring in the best actors, we can make the show look like $1 billion. So what are we going to do with that? Is it just purely to entertain and be a diversion, or are we doing something that wants to be socially, politically relevant? Are we doing something that is emotionally relevant? Hopefully it's all of the above. Like Gene always said, we're going to entertain you, make you laugh a little, and hopefully slip in a heavy idea or two.
Yeah, as you're going through that list, I was thinking the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, right.
Because we've gotten that. I mean, yeah, we got that silly wedding bell blues thing. It was all right. I did like the one with the holodeck. I mean, that was kind of silly.
Yeah.
Particularly at the end where he's going, yeah, and by the way, we should have an independent power supply for this thing.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm like, this is where Voyager got the idea, right?
Yeah.
Him saying it there, just make it independent, and now we can have it, even though we're starving for energy elsewise.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but I like, the one with the Gorn, and Ortegas. We got more Ortegas.
Ortegas.
God, she knocked it out of the park. She's
Standout
so
episode.
good in that. Yeah.
And this message that they had, not just in that one, but you have more in common with your opponent than you think. Which really does go to that political discourse thought that we need to keep in mind. How do we move forward? Well, first of all, we stop attacking each other.
Yeah.
We realize that we do have more in common than we think.
Yeah.
And realize if we're going to attack each other, we're going to be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1,000%.
And you see that in that one. You see that one with Kirk learning empathy. Although I think he already had some. I discussed this when I was on with that episode.
Yeah. Agreed. And empathy is, I think empathy is a hard thing to teach. And maybe you don't necessarily need to teach it in the academic sense. Not necessarily. I mean, Nani could fill us in here a bit on the depths of empathy. I think the trick is to turn it back on. Realize that you can use that power of empathy even when there are circumstances that feel like they challenge that, even when there are circumstances that feel like maybe that empathy is not earned or appropriate. And with the Gorn, it's one of those classic Star Trek situations. They're the enemy, but we're going to keep trying to communicate. And we'll keep trying to communicate. And we'll keep trying to communicate. Got to defend ourselves in the process,
Right.
but we're going to keep trying to communicate and get to a better resolution in the end.
Well, empathy has its limits. It's a good thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Peter, any final thoughts? We'll jump over here to John.
Look forward to hearing more from you the next 2 weeks. Thanks for
Excellent.
the invite.
Terrific. Call in anytime. We'll talk to you later. Be good.
Hi.
Have a good night. All right, John Arminio. How's
Hello.
it going, Quasar
Hi,
Sniffer?
Yeah, I think, John, you talked about how much of like a comfort blanket this show can be, and I honestly think that is maybe what Strange New World does best. It provides like a welcoming, comforting environment to live in. I think maybe the best that Star Trek has done since the sort of hotel lobby with a bar vibe of Next Generation that I love so very much.
I mean, we literally do that with dinner parties in Pike's quarters. Like, and
Yeah.
That's great.
It's
is
great.
Such a great pretense. Yeah.
And I think because the styling on the individual cast members is so good that they each have their own individual civilian wardrobe.
Yeah.
That we see them feel at home.
Yeah.
On the Enterprise, and I think that's wonderful. And I think with that base of like safety and comfort, it's also sort of conversely disappointing when the show can't do as much socially relevant commentary that I want from Star Trek. Because I think because we feel so safe on the Enterprise with this crew, I think it can say some very meaningful, challenging things without it being grim, without it being dark, and having some levity with Pike and Ortegas and Uhura and that whole crew. So when it seems like a top-down message that we're only going to show hetero relationships, that we're going to run away from serious subject matter for more comedic stories, which like I'm fine with comedic stories, but it just seems like in an era where there's so much like political control over these major media companies, and that in order to protect mergers, they're softening the social messaging that would be otherwise on their platforms, and I hate to see Star Trek be dragged into that.
Yeah. I mean, I hate that too. I also think, the pattern is there. The formula is there because it was 1966 on a major network that they were doing this, and I guess maybe now nearly 60 years later the cat is out of the bag because we all realize they were doing important social political commentary at the time, but it was not exactly the most popular idea to go on primetime TV on one of the big three and make comments about the Vietnam War or birth control or racism, et cetera, pick your poison. But they did it, and maybe there's a combination of us as an audience being a bit reactionary and sensitive to that, along with the fact that maybe the writing is done in such a way that it is almost expected of that. Like, oh no, we're definitely going to force home a message now by stopping and giving a speech. as opposed to feeling like, oh no, this is an organic part of the story where we get to kind of live the experience to challenge our ideas, you know? But I don't know. I'm not a writer. I'm just a podcaster.
Yeah, it you know, I see what's happened, you know, with Disney in the last few days, and you know, we went from indefinitely suspending Jimmy Kimmel to him getting his job back Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I think the powers that be are so fragile and so thin-skinned and so weak that you can push back on them.
Yeah.
A Kirk speech, a Pike speech, a Picard speech is actually more powerful
Yeah.
than these
Yeah.
dum-dums.
Yeah.
And so you know, maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm idealistic, maybe I'm looking at Star Trek through rose-colored glasses, but it feels like Star Trek is more powerful than that.
I hope so. You know, I mean, I think about, so, okay, NBC in the 1960s,
Yeah.
I think was still, at least in part, owned by General Electric, you
Mhm.
know, and wasn't it later on? I can't remember which comedian pointed this out to Dave Letterman or somebody on air. It's like, no, you're working for a company that makes the machinery that also makes, you know, vehicles that deliver bombs in
Yeah.
place. You know, you're all still kind of part of the problem here. But again, they were still airing it. They were still airing that materials, and
Yeah.
and at least had kind of the wherewithal to say like, no, this can exist in our
Yeah.
broadcast standard. You
Yeah.
know?
And you know,
Um,
as much as I loved, you know, Patton Oswalt, like you could have also had like Leslie Jones or Ali Wong play that
Oh,
play that
yeah,
part. I don't know. But
clever, clever. What are we
yeah,
gonna say, Heather? Yeah.
I just wanted to add because this is a subject that's come up in our Strange New Worlds discussion a lot. Especially, you know, me as a queer person, like I noticed that there aren't queer people in this show. Yes, you know, Chapel is canonically bi, and I don't want to erase that. That would be bi erasure to take that away. That is a reality. But aside from that, especially this season, like there's really nothing. And Cheyenne also pointed that out somewhere in this season as well. And there was an article not that long ago. It was an interview, I think at STLV. I think Trek Movie might have published it, where they were interviewing Celia, and maybe someone asked a question on her panel about whether or not there would be any queer representation in future seasons. And her response was that she hadn't seen the scripts, so that she couldn't say either way.
Mhm.
She hoped there may be, but ultimately, and I quote, "This is Paramount's Trek."
Hmm.
And that really made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I have asked this question, like, there has been a decline in the visibility and use of LGBTQ characters in media across the board over the last couple of years. And when there are statements like that that seem to imply, you know, there's someone controlling content in a way, it's foreboding.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's Roddenberry's Trek. Like that to me made it sound like it wasn't Roddenberry's Trek when you say it's Paramount's Trek. Um, so you know, it
Yeah.
is, but Starfleet Academy looks to be promising in other ways. So I will
Yeah.
withhold judgment and hope to see more there, and try to be positive and optimistic about it. But it is worrisome. And I do wonder about the influence. You said when you started, John, you specifically said can't.
Mm.
And I was like, why can't they? You know, who said
Mhm.
they can't? Like, you know, where's the influence there?
Yeah.
And I think it's a question that's we can't be asking based on what we've been seeing across the board with media these days.
I will say firmly, as a person who knows nothing, sees nothing, reads nothing, stay tuned. Whether or not those questions will be answered satisfactorily in seasons 4 and 5 of Strange New Worlds, Might be more to come. So stay tuned. But the irony is hitting me here that it is Paramount Star Trek, and that was the great kind of liberation of Star Trek when Next Generation came out, because then they didn't have to answer to networks. Then it truly was Paramount Star Trek, and they just got the show out there. And if you wanted to syndicate it, cool, you can take our show. And then it was wildly successful. And yes, there were notes, there were certain lines that they had to ask themselves if they were going to cross. But it was a wildly successful way to make that show when you cut out the middleman and you just say, here's the show that we're making, take it or not. And all those broadcasters took it. And now again, the double irony is that now they own their own distribution platform and yet pull punches in many ways. Yeah.
That's
go ahead.
Just that's what you get when you have like 3 media companies controlling everything.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Well, look, we still got a few callers left. Heather, I hope we can run just a little bit late because we got some great people lined up. John, hope we get to see you again soon. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one. Be good. All right. We got Brandon in the queue. We got Cherie and Alan. So thank you all for standing by. Brandon, what's on your mind tonight?
Hello. Well, I mean, man, I am not wild to be going after John Arminio because I don't feel like it's particularly legitimate as a caller to just be like, I mean, yeah, what he said, but also that.
Also what he said. Yeah.
I will say seasons 1 and 2 of Strange New Worlds felt like core Star Trek to me. I told people, look, even if you've never watched Star Trek before, but you're interested, this could be an entry point.
Yeah.
This could give you the core of what it's about. You don't need to, ironically, I was telling them, you don't need to have seen other Star Trek to appreciate it. It's a great entry, and this season, I don't feel that perfect distillation as much. If 1 and 2 felt like a whole show made of the best of Star Trek, this one sort of felt like it was a showcase of the episodes throughout Star Trek history that kind of whiffed a little bit. Not all of them. We had some amazing episodes like the Salat Who Ate Its Tail and Terrarium. But past that, and those are the kinds of things that I absolutely loved in seasons 1 and 2. Yet I'm a little spooked because we also saw a season that was very focused on not telling us new stories, but setting up TOS more and more, setting up TOS, which requires no setup. It was the first show. We don't need to set it up. Or addressing characters or stories from TOS. We have 8 episodes with James Kirk at this point. He almost has his own season, and I guarantee you he will have had it by the time we're halfway through season 4.
Drives me nuts.
Drives me nuts.
They want him to have his own show like that. I have to wonder, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to wonder.
You're not interrupting. This is your show.
Because I know that almost since the beginning they have wanted this. Like they have wanted this Jim Kirk TOS reboot. And now that we're getting closer and closer to this series ending, like that's the plan. That's the goal. That's what they want. Akiva and the other person. So it's like, I feel like this is just the plan. And when was the pivot that they decided to really go so hard to make it that? I want the book. I want to know. I want to know the specific details of when it happened and when it became that. Because 8 out of 10 episodes that he's in, when it's okay, the end.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I agree. And the thing is, if you want a Kirk show, presumably because Kirk is the name that everybody knows, he is the entry point that people think of. That was why they rebooted Star Trek 2009 with Kirk and not someone else. It's probably why they're introducing him here, because they're saying, oh, Kirk gets views. We'll do it. We want to do a Kirk show. Let's set up a Kirk show. You don't need to set up the show that you are saying is the draw.
Yeah. Right.
You don't.
Exactly.
It's that's not how it works. You don't have to sell me ice cream to get me to eat ice cream if that's what you think I want. So I just, we all know about King Midas, right? Whose touch turns everything to gold.
Yeah.
I think he has a brother that most people overlook, and that's King Saddam, whose touch turns everything that's gold into plain room temperature oatmeal. And he spends a lot of time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But he calls that oatmeal product.
Yeah.
And when a show becomes a product that you're not trying to say, listen to our stories, come see our stories.
Yeah.
But you're saying, I have something that you want, come buy it. That's when your show starts to decline. And that's what I am very worried we're seeing, is that somebody listened to King Saddam and they're saying, well, you know what people want to buy? They want to buy. They want to consume. That's another word I hate in entertainment. Consume content. Yeah. That's what I'm afraid somebody is trying to get us to do with Strange New Worlds, and they didn't have to do it. King Midas came in. I thought the show was gold as it stood.
Yeah.
And I'm sad and I'm worried about season 4 because it's in the can already.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no room to tweak things there. And, again, like learning from history here. So go back to 1987, and the decree from the main office was, we're not doing TOS.
Yes.
So we're not doing references to TOS. We're not constantly name dropping Kirk or Spock or anything like that. And what happened? They made what is still today the most successful Star Trek series.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean necessarily that, okay, the key is you got to not mention these people, or the key is you have to reboot these particular people. The key is you got to tell great stories with characters that we love. Be confident in that. And when we started Strange New Worlds, that's what I was getting from Strange New Worlds. The confidence of telling great stories with characters that I immediately loved.
Yes.
Now it's sort of like, fourth season Worf. Like, we got to get him in there because people might not remember it's Star Trek unless they see this guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Have some faith in the audience.
Yeah.
Trust us.
Yeah.
And I would say too, I want them to be bold, because you a very good point about 1987, because I was also reading recently, there was an uproar from some folks about Next Gen not being Kirk and Spock. It's not.
Absolutely.
And they made something that didn't connect. There's you can count on one hand the connections to TOS in Next Gen.
Yeah.
And in the end, people loved it because they stood their ground and they said, no, we're not just connecting it back. We're going to do Star Trek, yes, but this isn't going to just be a rehash.
Yeah. It makes the universe feel much, much smaller every time that you say,
so much.
Nope, it all revolves around Kirk. It all revolves around this particular ship with these particular people. And this is a long conversation for another show, but I keep maintaining, James Kirk is not Luke Skywalker. It's not where this family has the Force strong in it, and therefore we need to follow that particular family. He's also not James Bond, so we're not doing those stories. These are people who, by design, are like us, but they happen to be really good at what they do, and we get to follow their work adventures, which happen to be in space.
Yes. And I hope we return to the philosophy and the purpose and the methodology, but not it doesn't have to be the same box, the same label.
Yeah. Agreed. Excellent.
Thank you,
Brandon,
guys.
always a pleasure.
Oh, for me too. Take care, both of you.
Until next time. All right. We got Cherie still being hunted by the Gorn.
Oh no.
Or Gorny. Oh wait, you're muted. Oh, still mute. There we go.
Okay. I was being censored in how much I love Gorney. Gorney. This is my friend. Justice for Gorney. So in my head, this is a Gorn pilot from Hegemony, but in my head, this is the same Gorn pilot that Ortegas met on the planet.
Absolutely.
And I love her.
Yeah.
And
yes, agree.
Who cannot love that face?
She's my favorite. Look, she's living her best life. Living her best life.
We have to get an action figure of this character for sure. Yeah.
She flies the ship.
So what's on your mind tonight about wrapping up Strange New Worlds season 3?
Speaking of Justice for Gorney, I really feel like they left out a prime opportunity to better tie in the whole Gorn storyline, because like the Gorn were such a big thing, and then they're like, actually it's this other thing that's super evil, and even the Gorn fear them, and it's like that was like kind of the only part of it. But I felt like that would have been a much better way for them to like be like, maybe we have more in common with the Gorn than we think, than we understand. But they just had that one episode with Erica, and like I was afraid would, never mentioned it. Like, I mean, to be fair, there's only been one other episode, but I don't know. I don't have high hopes. I think it's going to be like Worf's blood brother. I think we're just never going to hear about it. Erica's Gorney again.
Be relegated to the files that occupy all the biographical data on Alexander. We'll never hear about him again. Yeah.
I would be really disappointed
more on Alexander than this.
If we don't get something about Erica and Lon, whether or not the Gorn is brought up, like I feel like that would be really disappointing to completely drop that. Like there has to be a conversation at least to follow up. Otherwise we riot. And we send them small Gorns. We mail them Gorns.
Gorny!
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. I will say though, unfortunately I missed being able to comment on the first 2 episodes. So I'll say now that actually other than Gorney, Hegemony was not my favorite. I'm just not a war person. It's just, but I did actually like Wedding Bell Blues. Like it was like, was it the best Trek episode ever? No, but I love Q and I love Trelane, and I love that they kind of tied those two together. And I love John Delancey. I'm never going to be upset about John Delancey being there.
and look, I relegate that to the same space that I have for bringing the Metrons or Metrones, depending on your accent, into the end of Terrarium, which is, okay, I don't mind knowing that they exist. And I like the idea of canonizing this Trelane Q thing that had been already in a novel earlier on. What I don't like is replaying the same story beat. And that's what drives me. I was like, guys, you've got years to work on these shows and work on these ideas. And don't tell me that in the writer's room or the virtual writer's Zoom room or whatever memos are going back and forth, somebody didn't have just a slightly different idea. Like, no, we can actually introduce this element and create this connection, but let the fans take it from there instead of saying, nope, we're just going to replay the exact same thing you saw before. That's what makes me nuts.
Did you feel like Wedding Bell Blues was like that for you?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
It did. Because, like I said, I don't mind having a Q and a Terlane. I think that's cool. The speculation was always there. As soon as Q hit the screen in 1987, people are like, oh, but wait a minute, Trelane, he's this mercurial, impish jerk with a lot of power. Let's connect these two. And then that ended up in a novel. And I think that's wonderful. I think there is a more clever way to explore that in the episode. Because what we got at the end was replaying the end of Squire of Gothos. Mm-hmm. And then what we got at the end of Terrarium was replaying the end of Arena. And now fire is shooting out of Heather's eyes.
Yes, it is. It is. And I said this before the show. That episode, you guys know, all season how much between here and on the Discord I have talked about like the Gorn are not monsters, and I want the redemption episode. And that was the
Justice for Gorney.
episode. Yes.
Right.
And I was so like, I loved every minute. It was Mortagus, but it was this, it was getting to know that the Gorn is, you know, a person. And then, okay, Metro, okay. And then we just immediately kill Gorney. And we base the entire thing on Lon's reaction. And that to me is like, how stupid are you? Why would you dismiss this entire relationship that Ortega's just built with Gorney? Why would you just throw that away based on Lon? And then, you know, then I sat with the discussion in the Discord and I thought about it a little bit and I was like, okay, well, we shoot to kill. And that's what humanity is. And that's what they based it on. And okay, that's fair. But yeah, I'm with John in that I really enjoyed Wedding Bell Blues. Again, Rhys Darby, loved him. Our Flag Means Death, loved
such a
bringing in
good
that
show.
character. If you love that show, I think you
Yeah.
would really appreciate his acting and the similarity and his character from that. But the very end, it's just the same beat. It's the same thing. And it's frustrating. And I am all for anything that brings in new fans. That's something that Earl's been really passionate about in our chats. So if somebody's going to see that and is going to go dive right into TOS and hop into it, I love it. For me, as someone that's seen it, it was very copy and paste. And like John said, could you not have done just something slightly different? Just slightly different.
And I think that's such a great cut. By the way, I love this screen name, Aggressively Relaxing. That's brilliant. But I always ask myself when we replay a moment like that, or if we have a deep cut or something that is directly a reference to something else, who is it actually for? Because if it's for the viewer who's been around for decades and decades and they've already watched all of Trek and they know it all by heart, then the reference is just another reference, unless you're really massaging the story and really adding a layer of depth to that story. If it's for somebody who's brand new, well, either they're so new that they're not going to get that that's a reference, therefore the reference is lost, or if they just know, well, there's a lot of Star Trek out there, how and why would I know, like, oh, now I need to go back and watch Arena, which is from the original series? Not necessarily. I mean, you kind of already have to have the knowledge to know that that's the thing you're going to go watch. So I feel like there's this ever diminishing demographic where when we do something like that, it's meant for an audience who get it, but maybe they're not deeply tied to that reference, but they want to go back and watch again. Like, I don't know how you keep slicing that pie. And I feel like the way to do it is just tell a new story, give it a new angle, give it something that stands on its own. And maybe if you discover that thing later on, great. You're, look, still part of the Trek family. It's your first Star Trek, wonderful, welcome. If it's your 900th, great, enjoy, you know? But trying to force these little moments into the stories over and over, I keep asking, like, is it for the writers who came up with it? Is it for the age-old fans who already figured it out, already got it anyway? Or is it for the people who aren't going to get it for another 3, 5, 10 years, however long they keep watching Star Trek? And I hope they do. You know, everybody should find their entry point, and I hope they're in for the ride of their lives.
I must be just the entirely right fan that they were aiming for, though, because I liked.
Good. You are the demographic that I want to talk to more to try to understand.
And I really liked it.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Don't think I didn't like it. I did really like it. The ending could have been slightly different, but I had a lot of fun with that episode. So don't think I didn't like it.
I think for me, it's possibly because, like, I am aware. Honestly, I am aware of TOS. 99% of which is through mission log.
Thank you.
So, because it's it's tough for me to watch that one. But I grew up watching TNG, so I love TNG, love Q. But I am aware of Trelane. I know about Trelane.
Yeah.
But kind of like less like, dialed in where like I know everything. And I didn't read any of the Star Trek books. So I think like even though I'm a fan, like I maybe not like I don't have all of the stuff, but I have enough of the stuff where like I get the reference. I'm like John Delancey.
Nice.
And I'm like, yeah, and I know what's going on with Trelane.
And you were like,
But
lower
it's just
deck, Spock helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Cherie, thank you so much. I hope we get to have this conversation for many more hours to come. We'll do it again, okay?
Oh, can I just throw in one more thing?
Yeah, please.
I did really want to say that I did think that Mission Log's timing, I mean, it was coincidental, but with doing Lineage at the same time that they had 4.5 Vulcans. And I just want to say that I think Voyager did the whole like genetic thing much better, much more nuanced than Strange New Worlds did.
Yes. Good call. Good call. All right. Take care. We'll see you next time. Okay.
Yay.
Cheers. All right. Everybody who stayed with us a little bit longer than usual, thank you. It's well worth it because now we're joined by Alan.
Hello.
Alan, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, guys. Hey, John. Hey, Heather. It's great to see you tonight. Now, there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of wondering, will there be a song for the end of the season? Well, I hate to disappoint everyone, but I will not be singing a song tonight because tonight it's a duet.
Yeah.
May I introduce my accomplice?
Hello. It's me.
It's our very own Ashley Thomas.
Yay.
Right on.
Yay. Thank you, Alan, for inviting me to be your accomplice.
Yes. I was like, when I thought about the Strange New World song that sort of kicked off our discussion of this round of Mission Log Live, I was like, what better way to cap things off than with another classic from that oeuvre? And so, whenever you're ready, shall we take it away?
I'm ready, Alan. Go for it,
Let's do it. I can show you the Gorn. Fighting, feeding, then friended. Tell me, fandom, now when did Star Trek write an arc so wide? Watch them pluck Gamble's eyes. Swap his soul for another. Ortegas now has a brother. See some knots almost get tied on Strange New Worlds. A new oblique guest role for Q. No one can tell them no, not on this show, or say it's only streaming.
On Strange New Worlds, a documentary point of view with new romantic pairs and Vulcan hairs. Let me share these strange new worlds with you.
Now I'm watching Strange New Worlds with you.
Evil spheroids of light. A Klingon needs mental healing. Dramatic acting with feeling. Give the holodeck a try on Strange New Worlds.
Here in disguise.
Even the Gorn won't
Folks get
disagree.
sad, they get better.
Whether they dance or spar, they've come so far. They're using phones from 1983. X is so wise.
They'll play a game of
Doctor Who, Pelia met her.
Walk on a bridge not there.
Make soup to spare.
Let me share these strange new worlds with you. On Strange New Worlds.
On Strange New Worlds. Worlds.
season 3,
In season 3,
our future's place
in unknown space, for you and
me.
Oh my God! Wow!
Hey.
Wow! Bravo! Bravo!
My face hurts from the
Yeah.
smiling.
Same. Mark just called it, and with this, Mission Log Live is now canceled. Can't top this ever. So-
Well, we'll see what the lawyers have to say.
right. We might get a C&D. We're gonna get flagged on YouTube anyway. But
Parody,
wow.
parody.
Yeah,
Bravo.
parody. We didn't use the music. It's
Nope.
fine. It's fine.
Nope. All new content. Commentary on media. It's all
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
That was so
you're getting
good.
all kinds of praise in the chat. Well deserved. I love it. Way to work in the Doctor Who reference.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
Yeah. No, literally when I was coming up with ideas, I had like a list of just the 10 episode ideas, and I was just like, what from this episode will fit this rhyme scheme?
Awesome.
And
And
so we
by the
popped
way,
it in there.
yeah, folks who are watching the video right now, sorry, Ashley's video, the video didn't drop in, but now we're in a Brady Bunch style 4-up here. So
It's okay. It's
say
okay.
it really is Ashley. Yeah.
All you
Yeah.
guys missed was a little bit of like dramatic flourish while
It
I
was
singing.
very dramatic and very
Yeah.
flourishy.
Maybe I can, if I've got time tomorrow, maybe I can sneak into the Strange New Worlds Discord chat. And Alan, if you're up for it, bro, if you're available,
We could
Yes.
we could maybe do an encore.
an encore,
Encore.
an encore performance.
I love
Yes.
this. Well, and look, if you want to be a part of it, do the exclamation point, Patreon, join, hop over to Discord. That's how you can be there. Is it at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, right?
Correct.
8.
Or no, 8.
and-
Excuse me.
8 and
Sorry.
5.
8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern.
Yep.
So that's where you go. All right, there's no topping that. That's a show right there. So we got to say
Hey.
goodnight.
Just wanted to leave us on a note of joy.
You do. You left
I
us on
love it.
all the notes of joy, as did Ashley. So thank
Well,
you
props
both.
to Alan. Alan was the songwriting mastermind on that. He just messaged me
Yeah.
Friday night. He's like, "You want to do a duet on Monday?" I was like, "Bro, you asked me to sing in public. Sure, I'm
This is
definitely
great. So
gonna do
he's
that."
the Bernie, he's the Bernie Taupin of this
Yeah.
songwriting collaboration.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I mean,
And
yeah, go ahead.
Well, Heather, go ahead.
Props to Alan on the writing, and props to you, Ashley, on the voice. I had no
Yes.
idea you could sing so well. So
Oh, thank
bravo
you.
to both of you.
Got
you.
some
And
pipes.
with regards to the lyrics, I have to admit that when you're replacing the words of a genius, it makes it pretty easy.
Right?
So
figured it
I'm
out.
standing on the shoulders of the giant that is Howard Ashman.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, take care, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us in this lunacy. As I mentioned before, we will be back next week with some guests to do a little different analysis discussion of Strange New Worlds Season 3. So join us for that. The week after that, if everybody has been listening to Star Trek Con, I think we will have a guest for that as well. We will be kind of mid-season with that show, so you can drop in with your comments and questions on that one as well. So with that, Mission Log Live is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment. Technical production on Mission Log and Mission Log Live by the instructive Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from Roddenberry Podcast. If you'd like to support Mission Log directly, give us a look at patreon.com/missionlog. Thanks to everyone who joined us live or later. Let's come back again with special guests to close out the season. We look forward to seeing you all next week.